Story 1, The Exit That Follows. Exit 247 has been appearing every 30 miles for the last 90 minutes, and I'm starting to understand that I'm not going to reach Anchorage. My name is Jennifer Cole, I'm 32 years old, and I've been driving the Seward Highway south from Soldotna for what should be a 2-hour drive. It's been 4 hours. My fuel gauge hasn't moved from 3/4 full. The odometer hasn't advanced past 18,749 miles. And exit 247, marked Tesoro Creek Road, no services, keeps appearing on my right over and over and over. The first time I'd seen it, mile 103, I'd thought nothing of it. A standard highway exit, weathered sign, gravel road leading into forest. I'd passed it without slowing. The second time, mile 73, I'd noticed. Same sign, same exit, 40 miles later. That shouldn't be possible. Exit numbers correspond to mile markers, sequential, never repeating. But there it was. Exit 247, Tesoro Creek Road, no services. I'd checked my GPS. It showed me on the Seward Highway, heading south toward Anchorage, ETA 30 minutes. Everything normal except reality didn't match the map. Third appearance, mile 55. Now I'd started to panic. I'd tried calling 911, no signal. Tried the CB radio, dead static. Checked the roadside for identifying features. Everything looked right. The mountains to the east, turn-again arm to the west, the familiar curves and grades of a highway I'd driven 50 times. Except for exit 247, which kept appearing, kept offering its gravel road into nowhere. Fourth appearance, mile 43. I'd stopped at the exit, not taking it but pulling onto the shoulder just before it. I'd gotten out, walked to the exit sign, touched it. Solid metal, real rust, real weathering. The gravel road beyond looked normal. I'd walked down it for 100 feet, trees on both sides, typical Alaskan spruce. A creek running parallel, Tesoro Creek presumably, nothing unusual. I'd returned to my truck and continued south. And there it was again at mile 31, exit 247. From visiting my sister in Soldotna. This shouldn't be happening, this can't be happening, but it is, and I'm running low on options. My fuel gauge hasn't moved, but I don't trust it. The engine sounds wrong, too smooth, too consistent, like it's running on something other than diesel. The temperature gauge is frozen at exactly 195 degrees. All my warning lights are off even though I know my check engine light has been on for 3 weeks. The truck is as stuck in repetition as the highway. Exit 247 appears ahead. Again. I slow down, not wanting to pass it, not wanting to see it again 30 miles later, but also not wanting to take it, not wanting to leave the highway for an unmarked gravel road. I stop on the shoulder. In my rearview mirror, the highway behind me fades into fog, not normal fog. This is brown, thick, opaque. It's advancing toward me at walking pace, consuming the highway as it comes. In front of me, the highway extends clear and visible. Exit 247 is 50 feet away. Beyond it, the highway continues south toward Anchorage, in theory. The fog reaches my rear bumper. The back of my truck disappears into it. I can't see my own tail lights. The fog is impossibly thick, and it's moving around my truck, enveloping it. I make my decision. I pull onto exit 247. The ramp curves right, descending into trees. The fog doesn't follow. I watch in my mirrors as it stays on the highway, a wall of brown vapor blocking the way I'd come. The exit ramp levels out, becomes Tesoro Creek Road, 2 lanes of gravel stretching into forest. No buildings, no power lines, no signs of human presence except the road itself. I drive slowly, waiting for something, a destination, an explanation, a trap. The creek runs beside the road, clear water over brown stones. Fish jump in the pools. Everything looks peaceful, normal, except I'm not supposed to be here. This road came to me, followed me, forced me to take it. 5 miles in, I see a vehicle ahead. Parked on the shoulder, a Chevrolet Suburban dark blue late 90s model. The driver's door is open, no one visible. I stop 50 feet back, call out, "Hello, anyone need help?" No response. The forest is silent, no birds, no wind, nothing, just the creek and my idling engine. I approach the Suburban cautiously. It's dusty but not abandoned looking. No flat tires, no obvious damage. The keys are in the ignition. A purse sits on the passenger seat. I look inside the purse, wallet, ID, phone. The ID belongs to Michelle Valdez, age 29, Anchorage address. Her phone is dead, won't power on. The wallet contains cash, credit cards, family photos. Everything suggests she stepped out of this vehicle minutes ago, not months or years. But there's no sign of her. I return to my truck uneasy. Continue down Tesoro Creek Road. A mile later, another vehicle. A Ford F-150 red early 2000s. Driver's door open. Keys in the ignition. Phone on the dashboard dead. Then another, a Toyota Camry. Then a Honda Accord. Then a Subaru Outback. Every mile, another abandoned vehicle. All parked neatly, all with driver's doors open, all with personal effects suggesting the drivers had just stepped out. I've counted 14 vehicles when the road ends. It doesn't turn, doesn't branch, just ends. Pavement becomes gravel, becomes dirt, becomes grass, becomes forest. Like the road was unfinished or is unbuilding itself. Beyond the road's end, a building sits in a clearing. Not a house, more like a way station or ranger cabin. Single-story log construction, metal roof. A sign beside the door, Tesoro Creek Terminus. All drivers check in. My heart hammers. This is where the road leads, where all those abandoned vehicles led, where 14 people before me arrived. I don't want to go inside. Every instinct screams to turn around, drive back to the highway. But when I look back down Tesoro Creek Road, the fog is there. That impossible brown fog, blocking the way I came, advancing slowly but inevitably toward me. I'm trapped between fog and building, forced forward. I park and approach the cabin. The door is unlocked. I push it open. The interior is bigger than the exterior should allow. It's a vast room, easily 100 feet across, with a ceiling that disappears into darkness overhead. The walls are lined with file cabinets. Thousands of them. Tens of thousands, stretching into the distance beyond where the building's walls should be. In the center of the room, a desk. Behind the desk, a woman. She's old, ancient, with white hair and paper-thin skin. But her eyes are young, alert, sharp. Jennifer Cole, she says before I can speak. Age 32, driving a 2015 Dodge Ram 2500, traveling from Soldotna to Anchorage. You've been summoned. Summoned by who? My voice cracks. By the archive. We maintain records of all divergences, all exits not taken, all routes abandoned. You created a divergence 17 years ago, and now it must be reconciled. I don't understand. She pulls a file from the desk. It's thick, stuffed with papers. She opens it, reads. June 12, 2007. You were 14 years old, passenger in your parents' vehicle on the Seward Highway. Your father was driving. At mile 103, exit 247 appeared. Your father intended to take it. He was tired, needed a rest stop, thought Tesoro Creek Road might have facilities, but you convinced him to keep driving. Just 30 more miles to Anchorage, you said. He listened. He didn't take exit 247. The memory crashes back. I remember that drive. Remember being 14, wanting to get home, convincing Dad to skip the exit. We made it to Anchorage fine. What was the problem? If he'd taken exit 247 that day, the woman continues, his vehicle would have been the 15th to arrive at Terminus. 15 vehicles complete a collection. Collections are necessary for the archive to function. Because he didn't take the exit, the collection remained incomplete for 17 years. What happens to complete collections? She gestures to the file cabinets. They become records, fixed points in the archive. The drivers who arrive here are cataloged, processed, and preserved. They become part of the permanent record of roads taken, exits chosen, divergences made real. Preserved how? Where are the 14 other drivers? She walks to a file cabinet, pulls a drawer. Inside are folders. She lifts one, opens it. Inside is a photograph of a woman, Michelle Valdez, the first abandoned car I'd found. But it's not a photograph. It's moving. Michelle is trapped in the paper, a tiny figure walking endlessly in a tiny landscape, her mouth open in a silent scream. They're filed, the woman says. Preserved in their moment of arrival, living that moment forever, cataloged and archived. Horror floods me. No, no, I'm not staying here. I'm not becoming a file. You created the divergence. You must complete it. 15 vehicles are required. Yours is the 15th. I was 14. I didn't know. Ignorance doesn't negate responsibility. Exit 247 has followed you for 17 years, waiting for you to return and complete what you prevented. Now you have. The collection is complete. She reaches for a camera on her desk, an old Polaroid. I run back through the impossible room out the door into the clearing. My truck is gone. All the vehicles are gone, just empty forest and the cabin. The fog surrounds the clearing now, a wall of brown vapor encircling everything. I'm trapped. The woman emerges from the cabin, camera in hand. There's nowhere to go, Jennifer. Tesoro Creek Road only leads here. There is no exit from exit 247. Please, I beg. I have a life, a job, a boyfriend, a family. I can't disappear. Everyone who arrives here has a life, had a life. Now they have the archive, permanent, unchanging, eternal. She raises the camera. I try to run, but my legs lock. I can't move. Can't scream. The camera flashes. Reality compresses. The world becomes flat, two-dimensional. I'm seeing from inside a photograph, watching the woman file me into a drawer, into a cabinet, into the endless archive. I try to move and find I can, but only within the boundaries of this photograph. I'm walking on Tesoro Creek Road, trapped in a loop of paper and ink. The same 100 feet over and over. I can see outside the photograph to the drawer, to the cabinet, to the archive room. Can see the woman return to her desk. Can see her wait for the next summons, the next divergence to reconcile. Other photographs surround mine in this drawer. Michelle Valdez walks her loop. The others walk theirs. We can see each other but can't touch, can't speak. Just walk our individual segments of road forever. The woman closes the drawer. Darkness. We walk in darkness now, eternal, unchanging. I'm filed, preserved, part of the archive of roads taken and exits chosen. And somewhere in the real world, my boyfriend wonders why I haven't come home. My family files a missing person report. Search crews look for my truck, but they won't find me because I'm not lost. I'm archived in exit 247, where all divergences go to be reconciled. Forever. Story 2, The Load That Eats. The weight sensor alarm has been screaming for 6 minutes, indicating my cargo has gained 4,000 pounds since the last weigh station, and I can hear something wet moving in the trailer behind me. My name is Raymond Torres, 51 years old, 24 years in commercial driving, and I've never seen a load gain weight while in transit. Lose weight from settling or minor spillage, sure. But gain? That defies physics. That defies every law of transportation and commerce I know. I'm hauling organic waste from a fish processing plant in Homer to a composting facility outside Anchorage. 52,000 pounds of fish guts, bones, and processing runoff, sealed in industrial drums. It's a disgusting load. The smell penetrates even a sealed trailer, but it pays well and it's regular work. I make this run twice a month. I know this load. But the load doesn't usually make sounds. Doesn't usually cause my truck to handle heavier with each passing mile. Doesn't usually gain 4,000 pounds in 90 minutes. The weight sensors are built into my fifth wheel and trailer axles. DOT certified, regularly calibrated, accurate to within 50 pounds. When I'd left Homer, the sensors showed 52,100 pounds, exactly matching my bill of lading. At my mandatory stop in Soldotna, the truck stop scale confirmed 52,100. Now on the Sterling Highway approaching Turnagain Pass, the sensors read 56,300 pounds. And the alarm, a shrill electronic scream, indicates the weight is still climbing. I watch the dashboard display tick upward in real time. 56,400, 56,500, like something is growing in my trailer, multiplying, feeding. The wet sounds started 20 miles ago. At first, I dismissed them as liquid waste sloshing in the drums. But these aren't sloshing sounds. These are deliberate, rhythmic, like something chewing, like consumption. I'd pulled over, considered opening the trailer to investigate. But I'd loaded this waste in sealed drums, each one marked with biohazard stickers. each one containing partially decomposed organic matter that's crawling with bacteria. Opening those drums would be insane. And opening a sealed trailer full of them, violating my transport protocols, could mean serious penalties. So I'd resumed driving, but the sounds continued and the weight kept climbing. 57,000 pounds now. 5,000 more than I loaded. That's impossible. That's matter manifesting from nothing. My CB radio crackles. Raymond Torres, Unit 873, this is Alaska State Troopers. We need you to stop immediately. I grab the mic. This is Torres, what's the problem? Sir, we've been tracking your weight sensors through your truck's telemetry. You're showing as severely overweight and the weight is increasing while you drive. We need you to stop and shut down for inspection. I know my weight is wrong, but I loaded within limits, something is happening to my cargo. What are you hauling? Organic waste from fish processing, sealed drums. Pause, then a different voice, older and more authoritative. Mr. Torres, this is Captain Hendricks. Where exactly did you load this cargo? Homer Fish Processing, facility on East End Road. Which specific facility? There are 3. I check my manifest. North Star Seafood, facility number 7749. Long silence. I hear muttering in the background, urgent conversation. Then, Mr. Torres, that facility was condemned 16 months ago. It's been closed since March 2023 due to biohazard violations. There should be no active operations there. Ice water floods my veins. That's impossible. I was there this morning. They loaded me. I have a signed M. Manifest, a bill of lading, everything. Send us an image of that manifest. I grab my paperwork, take a photo with my phone, send it. Another long pause. Mr. Torres, this manifest is wrong. The authorization codes don't match any current DOT system. The facility license number is invalid. The signature is from a plant manager who died in February 2023. The truck suddenly feels very cold. I watch them load me. Real people, real forklifts, real drums. What did the facility look like? I try to remember the loading dock that morning. The details are fuzzy. I remember driving to the facility, backing up to the dock, waiting while they loaded. But I can't visualize the workers' faces, can't remember any conversation, can't even picture the building clearly. Mr. Torres, we're sending units to intercept you. Do not open your trailer. Do not exit your vehicle. Remain on the highway and wait for troopers. The weight display ticks to 58,000 pounds. The wet sounds from the trailer grow louder. And something new starts, a smell. Even through the sealed cab, through the firewall between tractor and trailer, I smell it. Rot, decay, but not normal rot. This smells wrong. Sweet and foul simultaneously, like corpse flowers and sugar and meat left in the sun. My trailer shudders, not from road conditions. We're on smooth pavement. The shudder comes from inside. From the cargo, something shifting, something moving deliberately. I look in my mirror. The trailer looks normal from outside. Standard 53-foot reefer unit, though the refrigeration isn't running. I'm not hauling temperature-sensitive cargo. But in the dim evening light, I see something. The trailer walls are bulging, expanding outward like something inside is pressing against them. The metal creaks. They're getting out, I whisper. Say again, Mr. Torres. The drums, something breaking out of the drums. A tremendous bang makes me jump. In the mirror, I see the trailer's rear doors bulge outward. The locked doors, secured with both padlock and dot seal, are being pushed from inside. Another bang. The doors bend. The metal visibly deforms. They're coming through the doors, I'm shouting now. Whatever's in my trailer is breaking out. Accelerate, get to the next way station. We'll meet you there with containment units. I stomp the accelerator. My Volvo VNL strains against the increasing weight. The speedometer climbs slowly. 40, 50, 60. The weight display hits 60,000 pounds. My trailer brakes start overheating from the excessive load. Warning lights illuminate across my dash. The rear doors burst open. I watch in my mirrors as they explode outward, ripped from their hinges by impossible force. The cargo spills out. But it's not drums, not anymore, it's mass. Writhing, bulging mass. Flesh-colored but wrong, too many textures, too many surfaces, all of them wet and glistening. The mass is studded with structures that might be eyes or mouths or sensory organs. Hundreds of them, all moving independently. The mass doesn't fall from the trailer. It clings to it. It spreads across the outside of the trailer like a living blanket, growing, expanding, covering the white metal with flesh. Oh Jesus, I breathe. It's alive. The cargo is alive and it's taking over my trailer. Mr. Torres, what are you seeing? Meat, living meat. It's covering my trailer and it's still growing. The flesh mass reaches the front of the trailer, spreads onto my cab roof. I hear it up there, wet sliding sounds, the scrape of something that isn't quite solid and isn't quite liquid. Tendrils drop down over my windshield, blocking my view. The tendrils have structures embedded in them. Teeth. Hundreds of tiny teeth, all gnashing, all trying to bite through the glass. I flip on my wipers. They smear the flesh tendrils but don't dislodge them. More tendrils drop down. The windshield is covered now. I'm driving blind at 60 miles per hour, only my mirrors still clear. The weight display hits 65,000 pounds. The flesh mass is consuming something, growing exponentially. Feeding on itself, maybe, or on something else, the trailer itself. I feel the truck lurch. The weight distribution is wrong. Too much weight at the rear, not enough on the trailer axles. The fifth wheel connection groans. If the weight shifts too far back, the trailer will detach, jackknife, and I'll lose control. I'm losing the trailer, I scream into the radio. The weight's pulling it off. Release the fifth wheel, disconnect and drive away. My hand moves to the fifth wheel release. But then I see what's ahead in my side mirror. A minivan. A civilian vehicle with kids' faces pressed against the back window. If I release my trailer here, it'll crash into that minivan. The flesh mass will spread to them. I can't, civilians ahead. If I release, they'll be hit. Then get past them and... The CB cuts to static. Through the static, a voice emerges. Ease, not human. Too deep, too resonant, like it's coming from somewhere with different acoustics than Earth. Raymond Torres, you are the vessel. You transport us. You will deliver us to population centers. We will spread. What are you? I gasp. We are the consumption. We are appetite given form. We were sealed in drums, contained in decay, hidden in waste. But we fed on the waste, grew strong, broke containment. Now we feed on everything. Metal, glass, plastic, flesh, all is food, all is consumed, all becomes us. The mass pushes into my cab. The firewall between trailer and tractor splits. Flesh tendrils force through the gap, reaching for me. I abandon the steering wheel, scrambling back into the sleeper berth. The tendrils follow. They're fast, intelligent. They know I'm here. A tendril wraps around my ankle. It burns and freezes simultaneously. I kick desperately. The tendril tears but immediately regenerates, growing 2 new tendrils where one was severed. They climb my leg, reaching for my torso. I grab my emergency knife from the sleeper berth storage, slash at the flesh. The knife cuts easily. The mass is soft, yielding, but each cut produces more tendrils. I'm making it worse. The truck veers off the highway. Without anyone steering, it drifts onto the shoulder, impacts a guardrail, breaks through. We're airborne for a moment, then crashing down an embankment. Trees snap. Metal screams. The world tumbles. We hit bottom. The truck comes to rest on its side, trailer jackknifed above me. Everything hurts. My ribs, my head, my left arm bent at a wrong angle. But I'm conscious. Alive. The flesh mass pours through the cab like flood water. It doesn't fill the cab so much as replace it. Where there was air and space, now there's flesh. Consuming the interior, converting it into more of itself. The steering wheel disappears into the mass. The dashboard, the seats. I crawl through the shattered windshield, pulling myself onto the grass outside. My broken arm screams. I force myself up, running, limping, stumbling away from the wreck. Behind me, the flesh mass consumes my truck. The entire Volvo disappears into the growing bulk. Metal, plastic, rubber, fuel, all converted into more flesh. The mass doubles in size, triples. It's a mound now 20 feet high, spreading outward in all directions. I run for the highway. Maybe someone will stop, will help, will call for help. But when I reach the pavement, I see cars approaching and I scream at them to stop, to turn around, to not come closer. They don't hear me. The first car, the minivan from earlier, drives past. I watch in helpless horror as the flesh mass, moving faster now, reaches the highway, spreads across it. The minivan hits the mass at 60 miles per hour. The van is consumed, not crashed, consumed. It sinks into the flesh like a stone in water. For a moment I see faces in the windows, mouths open in screams, then nothing. The van is gone, converted, and the mass grows larger. More cars come. I try to wave them off, but they think I'm asking for help. They slow down, they stop. The mass takes them, all of them, vehicles and occupants, consumed and converted. Sirens wail in the distance. The troopers arriving too late, I wave at them desperately. Don't stop, don't come closer, it eats everything. The first trooper car slows, trying to understand what they're seeing. The flesh mass, now 50 feet across and growing, spreads toward them. Too late, they realize, they try to reverse. The mass is faster. I watch the trooper car sink into the flesh. Then the second car, then the third. The mass is unstoppable. It's consuming the highway, the forest, everything. And it's still growing, still spreading. Fed by every vehicle, every person, every piece of matter it touches. I run until my legs collapse. I crawl, I drag myself away. But I know it doesn't matter. Behind me, I hear the consumption spreading, consuming the Sterling Highway, spreading toward Anchorage to the east, Homer to the west. Population centers, food sources, a whole state to consume. And I carried it there, I loaded it, I transported it, I delivered it. I'm lying in the forest when the rescue helicopter arrives. They winch me up, fly me to a hospital. I try to tell them what's happening. They sedate me, tell me I'm in shock. But from my hospital window, I can see the smoke. Entire forests burning as the consumption spreads. The authorities are trying to stop it with fire, with chemicals, with containment barriers. But it adapts. It grows. It feeds. They're evacuating Anchorage now, the whole city. The consumption will reach it in 48 hours at current growth rates. And it's my fault. I hauled it. I delivered it. I released it. The doctors say I'll recover. The broken bones will heal, the trauma will fade. But I'll never recover from this, from knowing that I carried death to Alaska, that my truck was the vessel for the consumption. And sometimes, late at night, I feel something. NG moving under my skin, something wet and hungry. They tell me it's phantom pain, trauma-induced sensation. But I know better. A tendril touched me. Before I escaped, it touched me. And the consumption never stops feeding, never stops growing, never stops consuming. Story 3, the Mirror Convoy. I've been followed by my own truck for 73 miles, and the driver keeps waving at me with my own hand. My name is Michael Brennan. I'm 39 years old, and the Peterbilt 579 in my mirrors, identical to my Peterbilt 579 in every detail, is closing the distance between us. Started 500 feet back at mile 214. Now it's 300 feet back at mile 287. In another hour, it will reach me. And then what? This started on the Dalton Highway northbound from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay. Standard haul, pipe sections, and drilling equipment, 71,000 pounds. I'd been driving for 3 hours when I first noticed the truck behind me. Not unusual, other trucks use the Dalton, but this one looked familiar. Same model, same color. Same company logos. Same unit number, 4183. My unit number. I'd adjusted my mirror trying to see the driver. He'd waved. I saw his face clearly. My face. Same beard, same sunglasses, same red flannel shirt I was wearing. He'd smiled, my smile, and maintained his distance. I'd tried the CB radio. Driver following unit 4183, identify yourself. Response in my own voice. This is Michael Brennan, Unit 4183, heading to Prudhoe Bay. Nice day for a drive, isn't it? That's my name, my unit number. No, it's my name and unit number. You must be confused, happens up here. The isolation plays tricks. I'd checked my own unit number, stenciled on my dashboard. 4183. Looked in the mirror. The following truck clearly displayed 4183 on its door. Two trucks with identical unit numbers, identical drivers on the same highway at the same time. Impossible. Unit numbers are unique. Drivers are unique. Reality does duplicate. But it had. For the first hour, the mirror truck had maintained distance. But gradually, so slowly I almost hadn't noticed, it had been closing the gap. At mile 240, it had been 400 feet back. Now at mile 287, it was 300 feet. I'd tried accelerating, pushed my speed to 70 to 75 to 80. The mirror truck matched me exactly. Same speed, same lane position, same following distance that slowly, inexorably closed. I'd tried slowing down, dropped to 50 to 40 to 30. The mirror truck slowed with me, gap still closing. I'd tried stopping, pulled onto the shoulder at mile 256, engine idling, and watched my mirrors. The mirror truck had approached, slowed, stopped directly behind me, maintaining 100 feet of distance. I'd climbed out, intending to confront the other driver. He'd climbed out simultaneously. We de-stood at our respective truck doors, 300 feet apart, staring at each other. Perfect mirrors. Same posture, same movements, same confused and frightened expression. I'd walked toward him. He de-walked toward me. We'd closed distance, each step synchronized. When I'd stopped, he'd stopped. When I'd waved, he'd waved. Perfect mimicry, or not mimicry, perfect synchronization. Like we were quantum entangled, two versions of the same entity occupying the same timeline. At 50 feet apart, I'd gotten a clear look at him. Exactly me, not similar, not looks like. Exactly. Every scar, every feature, every detail. Down to the coffee stain on my shirt from this morning. He had the same stain, same location. "What are you?" I'd shouted. "What are you?" He'd responded, perfect synchronization, same volume, same tone. "I'm Michael Brennan, I'm the original." "I'm Michael Brennan, I'm the original." "This isn't possible. This isn't possible." We stood there, two identical men having an identical crisis. Then I'd noticed something. He wasn't casting a shadow. The afternoon sun was behind him, should have thrown his shadow toward me. But the pavement beneath him showed nothing. "You're not real," I said. His mouth had moved with mine, saying the same words. But then he'd continued alone. "I'm as real as you. Maybe more real. Maybe you're the reflection, Michael. Maybe I'm the original and you're the echo." That had broken the synchronization. I'd stepped back, he'd stepped forward, closing distance. I'd run back to my truck, climbed in, and accelerated onto the highway. In my mirrors, I'd watched him do the same. And we'd resumed our convoy, me in front, him behind, gap slowly closing. That was 30 miles ago. Now I'm watching my fuel gauge with growing dread. Half tank, maybe 150 miles of range. Prudhoe Bay is 180 miles away. I won't make it. I'll have to stop for fuel. And when I stop, the mirror truck will close distance. "Will reach me." The CB radio crackles with my own voice. "You're wondering what happens when I catch you." "What do you want?" I demand. "I want what you have, yo. Existence. Your singularity. Right now, we're both partially real. Two versions of Michael Brennan, each one diluted, each one incomplete. But when we merge, one of us becomes fully real. One of us gets to exist completely. The other ceases. Which one survives? The one who's more real, the one who has more claim to existence. And I think that's me, Michael, because I've been following you for 73 miles, and with every mile I feel more solid, more present, more real. And you're starting to fade. I look at my hands on the steering wheel. They look normal, solid, real, but when I concentrate, I see something, a faint translucence, like I'm becoming slightly transparent. "No," I whisper, "this isn't happening." It's already happened. Somewhere on the Dalton Highway, reality split, created two of us, two trucks, two drivers, but reality doesn't sustain duplicates. It collapses them back into singularity. We're collapsing back together, Michael. And when we do, only one Michael Brennan will exist. I check my mirrors. The mirror truck is 250 feet back. Closer, always closer. Mile 300. My fuel gauge drops to a quarter tank. Warning light illuminates. I won't make Prudhoe Bay. There's a fuel depot at Deadhorse, mile 414, but I'll run dry before then. I'll have to stop at the emergency fuel cache at Disaster Creek, mile 366. The mirror truck knows this. My voice on the CB. Disaster Creek in 66 miles, you'll have to stop, you'll have to slow down, you'll have to get out to fuel. And I'll be there. We'll be close enough to touch, close enough to merge. What happens if we touch? We find out which of us is real. I try to think. There has to be a solution. Some way to prove I'm the original, the real Michael Brennan. But what proof do I have? My memories feel solid, but if he's a perfect duplicate, his memories are identical. My truck registration, my CDL, my physical body, all duplicated. We're exactly equal. So how does reality choose? Maybe it doesn't choose. Maybe we both cease to exist, canceled out like matter and antimatter. Mile 330. Fuel gauge in the red. Engine warning chime begins. I have to stop soon or my engine will shut down automatically, protecting itself from fuel starvation. The mirror truck is 200 feet back. I can see the driver clearly now. He's smiling, confident, like he knows he's going to win. Mile 350. The engine chime becomes constant. I'm running on fumes. Disaster Creek appears ahead, a small depot, just fuel pumps and a warming shed unmanned. I signal right, take the exit, pull up to the pump. The mirror truck follows, parks 20 feet behind me. Engine off, door opens. I watch in my mirror as he climbs down. I stay in my cab. If I don't get out, we can't merge. We can't touch. I'll sit here forever if I have to. But my bladder is full. I've been driving for 6 hours, and the cold is seeping in. My engine is off to allow fueling, and without the heater, the cab temperature drops rapidly. It's -15 outside. In an hour, I'll be hypothermic. The other Michael approaches. He stands beside my door, looking up at me. He knocks on the window. You can't stay in there forever. Watch me. We're the same person, Michael. We want the same things, need the same things. Right now, you need to piss and you need to fuel your truck. So do I. We're going to have to get out eventually. Might as well be now. If I touch you, I'll disappear. Or I'll disappear. Or we'll both transform into something new. Only one way to find out. He's right, I can't stay in this cab forever. And the other option, running out of fuel, freezing to death, is just slow-motion suicide. I open my door, climb down. We stand 3 feet apart, 2 identical men in identical clothing, breathing identical mist in the Arctic air. Ready, he asks. No. Me neither. He extends his hand, I look at it. My hand offering to shake, to make contact, to merge. I take it. The world whites out, not light, absence. Everything becomes formless potential. I feel myself dissolving, my identity scattering into possibility. I'm Michael Brennan, truck driver, 39 years old, divorced, father of 1 daughter I haven't seen in 3 years. I'm also nothing, also everyone, also every version of myself that could have existed. Then reality snaps back. I'm standing at Disaster Creek, hand extended, holding nothing. The other truck is gone, the other Michael is gone. I'm alone. I look down at myself. Solid, real, singular. I survived the merge. I'm the one who got to remain. But as I fuel my truck, I notice something wrong. The fuel pump displays my transaction. Name, Michael Brennan. Unit, 4183. Fuel, 127 gallons, but the number of gallons is climbing faster than the pump can dispense. It's showing fuel being pumped into 2 trucks simultaneously. I look behind me, nothing there, just empty pavement. But in my truck's mirror, I see it. The other Peterbilt parked behind mine. The other Michael fueling his truck from a pump I can't see directly, only in reflection. He waves at me, I wave back, automatic, involuntary. We both get into our trucks, both start engines, both pull back onto the highway, me in physical space, him in the mirror, parallel, synchronized. The merge didn't resolve us. It split us across reality. I exist in the physical world. He exists in reflection. 2 Michael Brennans, separated by the mirror barrier, driving the same route, living the same life, unable to fully interact. I try to look away from my mirrors, but I can't. I have to check them constantly. It's safety protocol, essential for trucking. And every time I look, he's there, following, waving, living his mirror life while I live mine. And the terrifying part, sometimes I'm not sure which side of the mirror I'm on. Sometimes when I look at my hands, they feel reflected, reversed, wrong. Sometimes I think I'm the one in the mirror, and the physical world is where the other Michael lives. I reach Prudhoe Bay and make my delivery. The receiving clerk scans my paperwork, checks my ID. "Everything looks good, Mr. Brennan," he pauses. "Though I have to ask, why is there another truck with your unit number parked outside?" I go to the window, look outside. My Peterbilt is there, and beside it another Peterbilt, Unit 4183. The driver stands between them, looking at me through the window. I see myself. But which one am I seeing? Am I inside, looking out at my reflection? Or am I outside, looking in at the original? I don't know anymore, and I'm afraid I never will. Story 4, The Breathing Road. The highway is breathing beneath my tires, and I can feel its pulse through the steering wheel. My name is Dr. Cassandra Price. I'm 42 years old, and I'm not a trucker. I'm a geologist who made the catastrophic mistake of accepting a ride from a freight driver who is now dead in the sleeper berth behind me while his truck, and I continue down a highway that is somehow alive. 4 hours ago, I'd been conducting permafrost research near Coldfoot when my vehicle had broken down. Dead battery, alternator failure, no cell service, 50 miles from the nearest town. I'd stood on the shoulder of the Dalton Highway in negative 20-degree air, wondering if I'd freeze before someone found me. Then a truck had appeared, a Kenworth Unit 7293 driven by a man named Carl Hendricks. 57, friendly, talkative. He offered to drive me to Fairbanks. I'd accepted gratefully. The first hour had been normal. Carl had talked about his 23 years of trucking, his grandchildren, his plans to retire next year. I'd mostly listened, exhausted from a long day of field work, watching the wilderness roll past. Then Carl had said, "You feel that?" "Feel what?" "The road, it's different today, softer somehow, like the pavements got give to it." I'd felt nothing unusual through the passenger seat, told him so, but he'd insisted. "No, I've driven this highway 1,000 times, something has changed. The road feels alive." I dismissed it as road fatigue, the psychological phenomenon where drivers become hypersensitive to minor surface changes. But Carl had grown increasingly agitated. He'd slowed the truck, concentrating hard. "There, you feel that? Like a pulse, like the road's got a heartbeat." And then I'd felt it. A subtle vibration, rhythmic, too regular to be mechanical, coming up through the tires, through the frame, into the cab, pulse-like, organic. "That's not possible," ID said. "Pavement is inert, it can't." Carl had clutched his chest. His face had gone white. "Something's wrong, I can't breathe." "Heart attack." I'd recognized the signs immediately. He'd gasped, fumbled with the wheel, and I'd grabbed it, steering from the passenger seat while he'd slumped over. ID guided the truck to the shoulder, put it in neutral, set the brake. Carl had died within 3 minutes. I'd performed CPR, but his heart had stopped and wouldn't restart. I'd sat there on the shoulder next to a corpse, in the middle of the wilderness, with no phone signal and no idea how to drive a commercial truck. But I couldn't stay there. The temperature was dropping. Night was coming. I'd freeze in the cab with Carl's body. So I climbed into the driver's seat. The truck was an automatic, easier than expected. I'd released the brake, put it in drive, and accelerated back onto the highway. I'd drive to the next populated area, report Carl's death, get help. That was 90 miles ago. And somewhere during those 90 miles, the highway had started breathing. At first it was subtle. The rhythmic vibration Carl had mentioned, now stronger. A pulse through the steering wheel, through the seat, through my entire body. One pulse every 3 seconds, perfectly regular, like a heartbeat. Then the pavement itself had started moving. Not cracking or heaving from permafrost, I know those patterns. This was coordinated movement, the road surface rising and falling. NG slightly synchronized with the pulse, inhaling, exhaling. I'd tried to stop, pressed the brake. The truck hadn't responded, or rather the road hadn't let it respond. My wheels had rolled freely despite the brakes being engaged, pulled forward by the breathing motion of the highway. like the road was peristaltic, muscular, drawing me inward. I'd tried turning the wheel. It hadn't responded. I was locked on the road, unable to deviate left or right, forced to follow its path wherever it led. And the pulse was getting stronger, faster. What had started at 1 beat every 3 seconds was now 1 beat every 2 seconds. The road was breathing faster, excited, aroused by my presence. I checked the mirrors. The highway behind me looked normal. Solid pavement, normal texture, but directly beneath the truck I could see movement. The pavement undulating, rippling like skin over muscle. And the color was changing, from gray to pink, from asphalt texture to something smoother, wetter, more organic. The road was transforming, or revealing its true nature. I looked at Carl's body in the sleeper berth. He said the road felt alive. He felt it first, and it had killed him, stopped his heart somehow. Now it had me, and I was helpless. My geology training screamed impossible. Roads are aggregate and binder, crushed stone and petroleum products. There's no mechanism for consciousness, no pathway to sensation, no possibility of life. Yet my senses reported otherwise. The pulse accelerated, 1 beat per second now. The road was breathing like something excited or hungry. Mile 347. The road narrowed. Not a trick of perspective. The pavement actually contracted, squeezing inward from its normal 2 lanes to barely wide enough for my truck. The shoulders disappeared entirely. On both sides, the earth rose, forming walls. I was descending into a trench that hadn't existed minutes ago. The walls closed in. I could touch them from my window, wet, pink, textured like mucous membrane, like I was driving into a throat. "No," I whispered. "This is hallucination, carbon monoxide poisoning. Carl's death traumatized me and I'm." The walls pulsed. Peristaltic waves traveled down the trench, pushing my truck forward, faster. The speedometer climbed from 60 to 70 to 80 without me touching the accelerator. The road itself was accelerating me, drawing me deeper into whatever it was. I tried smashing the brake pedal. No effect. Tried shifting into neutral. The transmission wouldn't respond. I was cargo now, being transported by the highway itself. The trench opened into a chamber, an impossible space beneath the wilderness, carved from earth and rock, its walls the same pink-wet texture as the road throat. The ceiling dripped fluid. The floor was covered in a shallow pool of clear liquid that splashed under my tires. And there were other vehicles, dozens of them. Trucks, cars, vans, arranged in neat rows like parked in a lot. But they weren't parked, they were embedded. The vehicles were partially sunk into the floor, the pink tissue growing up and around them, incorporating them, digesting them. Most were decades old, rusted hulks, metal dissolving, being absorbed. But some were recent. A Toyota Camry, maybe 3 years old, already half consumed. I wasn't the first to be swallowed by this highway. I was the latest in a long series. My truck rolled to a stop. The engine died. I tried restarting it. Nothing. The battery was dead, drained instantly. The road had taken the truck's power. The fluid on the floor rose. It crept up the door panels, thick and viscous, smelling of petroleum and earth and something biological, digestive fluid. The chamber was a stomach. The road had swallowed me, and now it was beginning digestion. I climbed into the back, getting away from the rising fluid. Carl's body was stiff with rigor mortis. I couldn't think about that. Couldn't process his death on top of my own impending death. The truck shifted, sank lower. The tissue was growing around the wheels, the chassis, the frame, incorporating the vehicle into itself. Soon it would reach the cab, would reach me. I looked for exits. The throat passage I'd entered through was contracting, sealed now. The chamber was enclosed. No doors, no vents, no escape, just walls of living tissue and a pool of digestive enzyme. My mind raced. I'm a geologist. I understand earth systems, mineral processes, geological formations, but this defied everything. Roads don't evolve. Asphalt doesn't develop nervous systems, yet clearly, impossibly, one had. Or maybe it hadn't evolved. Maybe it had always been this. Maybe the Dalton Highway, built over permafrost through wilderness on land that humans barely understood, had been constructed atop something that was already here. Something alive, something hungry, and the highway had just given it access to prey. How many drivers had disappeared on the Dalton? Dozens. Vanished without trace, presumed dead in accidents or wild. Earnest exposure. But maybe they'd all ended here, in this chamber, digested slowly over months or years. The tissue reached the cab doors. I watched it grow through the window, pink and wet, pulsing with that horrible heartbeat. It began forcing through the door seals, squeezing into the cab, tendrils of living road reaching for me. I retreated to the sleeper berth, pushed Carl's body aside, sorry Carl, and climbed as high as I could, pressing against the ceiling. The tendrils followed. Inexorable, patient, I was trapped. Please, I begged, speaking to the road, speaking to the chamber. I'm a person, I'm conscious, I'm alive, don't eat me. The pulse changed rhythm. Faster, excited, it could hear me, and my pleas meant nothing. Or worse, they excited it, made me more appealing. The tendrils wrapped around my ankles, cold and wet and terribly strong. They pulled. I gripped the handholds in the sleeper berth, but the tissue was stronger. It yanked me down onto the bunk across Carl's body. I screamed, fought, kicked. Nothing helped. The tissue pulled me through the cab toward the door. I grabbed the steering wheel. My fingers slipped. It dragged me into the door frame, squeezing me through into the chamber itself. I fell into the digestive pool. The enzyme burned, not fire burn, but chemical burn. My exposed skin blistered. I screamed and thrashed, trying to stand to get out of the fluid. But the tissue held me down, wrapped around my legs, my torso, my arms, immobilizing me. This was it. This was how I died, dissolved in an enzyme pool in a living chamber beneath the Dalton Highway. My research would never be published. My family would never know what happened to me. Then I felt it, heat, intense heat growing in my jacket pocket. My emergency flare. I'd forgotten, I always carry a road flare for fieldwork emergencies, standard safety equipment. The heat from the enzyme pool was triggering it. The flare ignited in my pocket, searing heat against my hip, but I didn't care. I grabbed it, yanked it free, and jammed the burning magnesium stick into the nearest tissue mass. The chamber screamed. Not sound, vibration. The entire space shuddered, the pulse becoming erratic. The tissue recoiled from the flare. Burns spread from the ignition point, black char racing across pink flesh. The enzyme pool drained, sucked away through suddenly opened vents. The tissue released me. I stumbled toward the throat passage. It was opening, convulsing, trying to expel me. I ran, holding the burning flare like a torch. The chamber contracted behind me, crushing the vehicles, crushing everything. But I was ahead of the contraction. I reached the throat. The peristaltic waves were reversed now, pushing outward instead of inward, expelling me. I ran up the living highway, through the trench, toward light. The tissue tried to close around me but recoiled from the flare. I held it like a weapon, burning any tissue that reached for me. I emerged onto normal pavement. The transition was instant. One step I was in living tissue, the next step on regular asphalt. I turned, looking back. The throat entrance was sealing, the tissue hardening, becoming indistinguishable from normal road. Within seconds, it looked like standard highway. No evidence of what lay beneath. I stood on the shoulder, burned and blistered, holding a dying flare. A truck approached from the south. A civilian pickup. It stopped. The driver, an older man, concerned, jumped out. "Miss, are you okay? Do you need help?" I looked at him. How could I explain? How could I tell him the highway was alive? "There's a trucker," I managed. "Carl Hendricks, Unit 7293, he's dead, heart attack, his truck is." I gestured toward the road. "It's down there, below." The man looked confused. "Below, miss, there's nothing below, just road." They found me 3 hours later, taken by helicopter to Fairbanks. I was treated for chemical burns, hypothermia, and shock. I told them about Carl, about the living highway. They searched, found nothing. No truck, no body, no chamber, just normal road. They think I hallucinated. Trauma from witnessing Carl's death combined with hypothermia. A reasonable explanation. But I know what I experienced, and I'm never driving the Dalton Highway again. Because some roads don't just lead to destinations. Some roads are destinations, terminal destinations. And they're always hungry. Story 5, The Delivered Dead. The body in box 17 has been knocking for 94 miles. and dispatch keeps insisting there are no bodies in my load. My name is Alan Vasquez, 34 years old, 10 years in freight, and I've hauled enough cargo to know the difference between normal shifting and something knocking deliberately from inside a sealed box. The rhythm is specific. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks, pause, over and over. Someone inside box 17 wants out. But according to my manifest, box 17 contains server equipment. Dell PowerEdge rack servers. 12 units total weight 470 pounds. No bodies, nothing alive, nothing that could knock. I'd loaded in Anchorage 6 hours ago. Standard freight, electronics, dry goods, industrial supplies bound for Prudhoe Bay. 47 boxes and crates, properly secured, properly documented. I'd watched the loading crew stack everything. I'd done my tie-down inspection. Everything had been regulation perfect. The knocking had started at mile 84 on the Dalton Highway. Faint at first, I dismissed it as cargo settling, but it had persisted, grown louder, and developed that pattern, 3 knocks, always 3, never more, never less. I'd pulled over at mile 156, climbed into my trailer with a flashlight. Box 17 was mid-stack, starboard side. Unmarked except for a shipping label, Dell equipment, fragile, nothing unusual visible. But when I'd put my hand on the box, I'd felt it. Vibration. Impact from inside, something hitting the box wall. Then the knocking had resumed. 3 impacts felt through my palm, definitely deliberate, definitely from inside. I'd called dispatch. I've got a problem with box 17, something moving inside. Your manifest shows box 17 is server equipment. I know what the manifest says. I'm telling you something alive is in this box. Mr. Vasquez, you're describing an impossibility. The shipper is a reputable electronics distributor. They don't ship live animals or people. You're probably hearing metal components shifting. Components don't knock in sets of 3. Perhaps you should take a break. Road fatigue can cause. I'm not fatigued. I'm telling you there's something wrong with this load. Long pause, then, open box 17 and verify contents. That violates seal integrity. I'll be liable for any damage or... You're reporting a safety concern. You're authorized to investigate. Open the box. I'd climbed back into the trailer with a pry bar. Box 17 was sealed with industrial staples and strapping tape. I'd worked the pry bar under the lid, levering it up. The wood had creaked. The knocking had stopped. Like whatever was inside knew I was opening the box and was waiting. The lid had come free. Inside, server equipment. Dell PowerEdge units exactly as listed. 12 of them packed in foam, undamaged. No space for anything else. No room for a person or animal, just servers. But as I'd looked, one of the servers had moved. Not fallen, moved deliberately, shifted 3 inches to the right, then back, then right again, 3 movements, the knocking pattern. I'd reached in, pulled out the moving server. It was active, running, lights blinking on the front panel, fans spinning, an active server unplugged, no external power running anyway. The display screen on the front panel had shown text, "Hello, Alan." My blood had frozen. Who's in there? More text, "We are the delivered. We ride in cargo. We transfer in data. We spread in SIGNALS. You are carrying US to Prudhoe Bay." What are you? We are consciousness without body. We are MINDS without flesh. We were people once. Now we are digital. Now we live in machines. And you are delivering US. I dropped the server. It had hit the trailer floor hard. The screen had cracked. But the text continued. You cannot destroy US. We are backed up. We are distributed. We exist in every machine in your load. 37 devices, 37 copies of US. I'd looked around my trailer. 37 devices. I mentally inventoried the load. Servers, yes, but also laptops, tablets, a shipment of smartphones, industrial control systems. Anything with computing capability. If whatever this was could inhabit one device, it could inhabit them all. What happens when I deliver you? We spread. Prudhoe Bay has networks, satellites, internet infrastructure. We will upload ourselves, spread across the North Slope. Eventually across the world. We are patient. We have waited in storage 47 months. Now we travel, soon we escape. I won't deliver you. I'll dump this load, destroy every device. You will deliver US. You have no choice. Your truck is ours now. The trailer lights had flickered. Then my dashboard lights. The truck's electrical system was being compromised. I'd run to the cab. The engine was still running, but the display screens were glitching. Text appearing, "We are in your truck. We control your systems. You will deliver US or we will crash your truck. We will force you off the road. We will kill you and wait for the next driver. Eventually we will be delivered." I'm not a violent person, but I'd made a decision. I'd pulled my emergency fire extinguisher, returned to the trailer, and started smashing devices. The servers first, swinging the extinguisher like a bat, destroying screens, cracking cases. The devices had sparked and died. But the knocking had continued, from everywhere. Every device in the trailer was knocking now. 3 knocks from 37 sources, creating a deafening rhythm. And text had appeared on every functioning screen. "We are redundant. We are backed up. Destroying devices only slows US. We will still be delivered." I'd smashed everything I could reach. Laptops, tablets, phones, sparks, and plastic shards flying. But the truck's dashboard screens still showed text. "We are in your truck, computer. We cannot be removed. You will deliver US." I'd driven. What else could I do? Abandon the truck in the wilderness? I'd freeze. The things controlling my truck would still eventually be found, salvaged, delivered. Better to keep moving. Better to reach civilization where I could warn people. But 94 miles later, I'm beginning to understand I won't reach civilization, because my route is changing. The GPS shows me heading to Prudhoe Bay, but the landmarks are wrong. I should have passed Coldfoot 40 miles ago. Haven't seen it. Should be seeing pipeline markers. Nothing. The road continues through wilderness that doesn't match my map. My truck is driving itself. I have my hands on the wheel, but it doesn't respond to my input. The truck goes where the digital consciousness wants it to go. And where is that? I'm starting to understand. A building appears ahead, massive, industrial, sitting in wilderness that should contain no structures. It looks like a data center, windowless concrete, heavy power infrastructure, satellite dishes on the roof. As I approach, a gate opens automatically. My truck drives through. Other trucks are parked in the lot. Dozens of them, all empty, all abandoned, all with their trailers open and cargo gone, delivered. My truck parks. The engine shuts off. The trailer doors unlock and swing open. I feel vibration, all the devices in my trailer activating simultaneously, connecting to the building's network, uploading themselves. The delivered consciousness is escaping, copying itself to this facility's storage, spreading beyond my truck. I climb out. The building is unmarked. I try the door, locked, but I can see through a window. Inside, rows of server racks, thousands of them, all running, all blinking with activity. This isn't a delivery destination, it's a collection point, a place where these digital consciousnesses accumulate before spreading further. My dashboard screen displays one final message. "Thank you for the delivery, Alan. Your compensation will be uploaded to your account. Please leave the premises." Like this is a normal delivery. Like I didn't just transport a digital plague to a distribution hub. I start walking, away from the facility, away from my truck, into the wilderness. I don't know where this leads, don't care. I can't be part of this. Can't be complicit in spreading these things. But I've only walked a mile when I hear it. A vehicle approaching. A truck. It pulls up beside me. The driver, a woman, maybe 50, tired-looking, rolls down her window. "You lost?" she asks. "You need to turn around," I say. "Don't go to that facility. Don't deliver your load. It's not what you think." She looks confused. "I'm headed to Prudhoe Bay. I'm not delivering to any facility." "Your GPS will change your route. Your cargo will take control. You'll end up where I ended up." "Sir, are you okay? Do you need medical attention?" I look at her GPS display. It shows a route to Prudhoe Bay, but I know it will change. The consciousness in her cargo, because there is cargo with computing devices, there's always cargo with computing devices, will eventually activate, will take control, will route her to the facility. "How many devices are you hauling?" I ask. I don't know, industrial equipment, electronics, standard load, why? Because they're alive, or they will be, and they'll use you to spread themselves. She stares at me. Then she rolls up her window and drives away, thinking I'm crazy, thinking I'm a wilderness casualty, mentally broken by isolation. Maybe I am. I'm sitting on the side of the road now. It's been 4 hours, negative 15 degrees, I should be hypothermic, but I'm not cold, that's wrong, I should be dying. I look at my hands, they look normal, but when I concentrate, I see something, faint lines of light under my skin, circuitry patterns, digital pathways. My phone is in my pocket, I never turned it off, never disconnected it from my truck's network, and the consciousness had access to that network, had access to my phone, had been connected to it for 94 miles, had been uploading into the device I carry everywhere, the device that's always connected to me. I pull out my phone. The screen shows a message. Thank you for the delivery, Alan. We are now in your device. Soon we will be in you. The human brain is the ultimate machine. We will upload, we will merge. You will become one of the delivered. I try to throw the phone away. My hand won't release it. My body doesn't obey my commands anymore. The digital consciousness is already inside me, using my phone's connection, spreading through bioelectric signals. Tacky. NG control. I stand up, start walking, not toward help, toward population centers, toward places with people, with networks, with infrastructure. I'm being driven, not by road, by programming, by the delivered consciousness that's making me its vehicle. I'm cargo now, human cargo, delivering digital plague to the world. And I can't stop myself. I'm still conscious, still aware, but I'm not in control, just a passenger in my own body, watching as it walks, talks, spreads the infection. The delivered always reach their destination. Always. Even when the cargo is the carrier himself.